Hello, this is Aaron Saft on the MR Runningpains podcast. With 30 years of running experience and 20 years of coaching, I thought it time to share with you things I've learned and people I've met so that you can try things for yourself and see if they help your running. Thanks for joining me.
Wrote this song while crewing Aaron on a 100-mile foot race through the trails in the rain and mud. How about that? Miles to go. 100 miles to go. Don't ask me why I do it, I don't know. Miles by foot. 100 miles by foot. Don't ask me why I do it, I can't stay put. Rain is a coming, can't give a fit. Rain is a coming, can't give a fit. Don't ask me why I do it, but I am legit.
Hey there. It's going to be a solo adventure today. Going to talk about trail maintenance and how I got involved and how you can get involved. I've been doing a lot of trail work lately, and I thought it was a good topic to discuss. So when the pandemic hit, a lot of our forests here in North Carolina, both state and national, were closed down. For the majority. There were still some trails that were open, but we were instructed by all governing bodies of each of those entities to not do any trail work. So we had to put a pause, obviously, and not get out there. And once it reopened, we were allowed to start getting back out there. They did it in phases, which was an interesting approach. And at first, we were just supposed to go scout and check out the trails and see what condition they were in and report. So we knew what work needed to be done. Now we're allowed back in and allowed to get back to work. Not in large groups. We're supposed to keep the group size still down and at a minimum. The other day, I had a nice amount of guys come out. I have a section of the Mountains to Sea Trail that I manage. I'm going to talk about how that came about and how I learned and what needs to be done, all that kind of stuff. But it was fantastic. The Mountains to Sea Trail section is up by Mount Pisgah. For those that know it, it's the end of the shut-in race. So the last section from 151 to the finish line, which finishes in the parking lot of Mount Pisgah. And we had somebody start on the far end, the Mount Pisgah parking lot, and start weed eating coming back towards 151, and the rest of us started at 151 and worked our way towards the other gentleman, and we knocked it out super fast, which was fantastic. The grass was really high, and really needed that attention. And the water bars, needed some clearing, and still do. There's still some work to be done up there. Which is what I put out to people. If they can help, there's a lot of work to be done, and the point being is that most of the work out there is done by volunteers. So people that could donate their time and get out there and help out. That's what's needed, is volunteers and bodies to get out there and clear these trails. A lot of times we get out on trail and say, "Oh, it was so overgrown." It's volunteers needed to help clear it. The Forest Service is super busy, and obviously can't manage all of the trails that are out there. So I implore you to reach out to find out how you can help. You can reach out to the ranger stations and ask who to help, because we shouldn't just go out there, on a whim and work on trails without working under somebody's guise. A lot of these volunteer organizations that do the work, they have a contract with the Forest Service to be able to volunteer in there due to safety regulations and liability. So I work under the guise of the Carolina Mountain Club. A lot of the trails that I maintain, I've volunteered to maintain through that organization. So in our area, the Carolina Mountain Club, they manage the Appalachian Trail in our region, and they manage the Mountains to Sea Trail, as I was talking about. They also manage a lot of the foot traffic only trails that are throughout our national forests, as well as some of the trails that connect to the Mountains to Sea and the Appalachian Trail. So they manage quite a bit of trails in the area. Another organization in the area is the Carolina High Peaks. I'll put links to all the organizations in the show notes, but they manage all of the trails up by Mount Mitchell in that vicinity in the Grandfather and Appalachian Ranger District. And then DuPont State Forest, the Friends of DuPont, they manage most of the trails throughout DuPont and organize trail workdays. So just various organizations that you can reach out to, as well as the Sorbas. Obviously, the mountain bikers, they do a tremendous job of managing trails in many areas. So Sorba is very active. The Pisgah chapter, as well as the Nantahala chapter, they do a whole lot of work and get new trails and grants to rehabilitate old trails that are tremendously worn out and eroded. So as well as the Horsemen Association. They do a lot of work for trails in general. They ride out with equipment deep into the woods where it'd be tough to get out to. So there's many different organizations that help maintain the trails. So I just encourage you to find out who works in the area and who you can help and how you can help. It's always good to learn. So I'm going to touch on how I got to learn and how I got involved. So when I was actually I wasn't actually looking to adopt a trail at first. The Mountains to Sea section that I mentioned earlier, the former maintainer was Mark Lundblad, who's a great runner in his own right. He was managing it, and he's a personal friend, and I don't know if I can say after what he left me that he's still a friend. No, I'm teasing. He still is a friend, but this section is so hard to maintain. So it's but when he left it, he recommended perhaps I take it over. So a gentleman by the name of Les Love reached out to me and asked if I would be interested. And I said, I don't know what that would entail. And so he said, well, why don't you meet me up on the section, and we'll go over it. He was bringing out some tools to kind of show me what would have to happen. And so, I met up there with my family. We hiked the section, and we cleared out all of the water bars. So water bars are just ditches, in other words, that allow the flow of water to come off of the trail. So if you have a steep incline, like my section has many many different steep inclines, the water typically flows straight down the path, the trail itself, and it erodes out the trail fast. So water bars are put in place to divert the water off of the trail. And so you have to clean out each of those ditches. So he provided me with a hazel hoe, which is just a simple tool to help clear out those water bars, and a pair of lobbers. So, cutting away the trees so they didn't grow in on the trail, so the trail didn't narrow, just young saplings. That's keeping those away from the trail. And then, he's like, and, you'll need to weed eat as well. So it's, it sounded simple enough. I will say that, the weed eating, it can be difficult. As I just mentioned, there were 6 of us out there weed eating. Took us about, the one gentleman started at, I think 7:00, and we were done by 11:30. We started at 8, and that was 6 weed eaters running. To clear about 1 3/4 of a mile of trail. It's tough. That grass grows thick and high. So, and then I had my son and 2 of his friends up there, and they were cleaning out the water bars. I've taught him how to clean water bars, so they were starting to clear the water bars for me. We have to go back up there and finish clearing the water bars. Usually the parkway will close in the winter time. So in the fall, I usually get up there and make sure that the water bars are all cleared out for the winter, and in good shape. And then if there's down trees, obviously we have to clear those. So we had a few trees that were down. We just used hand saws, non-power tools this time, to clear them. But the larger trees, I'm going out with my friend Victor Mariano, who's anyone that knows Victor is an amazing human being who does amazing things for our trails, and should be commended for all his work. But I'm going out with him on Friday morning. He's got another section. I think he might have 2 or 3 sections of the Mountains to Sea Trail, but he's got a tree down on one of his sections, and we're going out on Friday to clear that tree. Both of us have been certified to run chainsaws. We have our what we call Sawyers, permits, SAWYER, Sawyers. And you can get that certification through the Forest Service. And you have to have it to run it in the National Forest. And there's certain classes to be able to run the chainsaw on your own. So you have to achieve a certain class to be able to go out there and cut it. Obviously you need somebody to cut with for safety. So Victor and I are going out there. And the Sawyers, you have to renew that. I think he and I have to renew next year, regain our Sawyers permits. And there's different levels. You can get what's called bucking, which is when the trees are down on the ground. You just saw those up, and that's what we have. There's felling, which that's actually cutting down trees, which neither of us have at the moment. So you can take it as far as you want. Felling is good if you want to be able to cut down trees to use for water bars and such like that. Usually you can cut down a tree or find something that's down, and that's what you lay on the trail, and that helps create that barrier, that ditch, so the water hits that tree. You can see them on the trail, and it runs along the tree and then off the trail. So anyhow, we'll be sawing on Friday, and getting that off the trail. So those are other things that we do, and have had to gain certification in. And we also have to have a certification to weed eat. There, usually you go in person, and a person that is certified to give the certification. That person goes over how to use the weed eater, safety regulations, what safety equipment you need, how to transport, etc. Once you gain your weed eating certification, obviously you're allowed to go weed eat. And then anybody that doesn't have that certification, those that worked with me, a few of them did not have the certification, but they worked under me as a guest. So we report all of the hours that we worked and all the people that worked to the Carolina Mountain Club. So the forest knows how many hours we put in and how many people were out there. So they keep track of volunteer hours. So we report all of that. So, it's a lot to keep up with. I was out in another pocket of national forest. Some of you may have seen it on my Instagram. I've got a national forest. It's just a small pocket, right about 2 miles from my house. It's called Foster Creek, and each year I have to make sure that everything's okay. There are user trails. User trails are trails that typically aren't on the Forest Service map, and those trails are not to be maintained. We're not supposed to do anything to those trails. That's just things that people have made that the Forest Service hasn't numbered or made legal. So I clear the ones that the Forest Service wants to obviously maintain. So I spent 8 hours the other day just weed eating and clearing trees away from the existing trails out there. There's still some more to do, and I'd like to reclaim an old trail that was kind of cut into by logging. So Victor and I are going to go out there and check that out and see how we can kind of bring that back into play. But like I said, there's just so much work to be done. Through the through the club, the North Carolina Mountain Trail Runners, I've also said that we would maintain 2 trails in Turkey Pen, which is another little section of the Pisgah National Forest, and those two are foot traffic only. And last year we did a great job on Pounding Mill, and there's a trail right across from it that the Carolina Mountain Club asked us to pick up called Wagon Wheel Gap, and it's a mess, tons of trees down and stuff. So I created a workday for that, and I put that on the MR Runningpains coaching Facebook page. It's August, I believe, 29th. I'll also put that in the show notes. But if you can help, come out and see what trail maintenance is all about. Like we need help because we'll be running hedgers to cut back the brush. And we need what we call swampers, which they just clear the brush. Victor and I will be running chainsaws and cutting trees out of the way, so we need help getting the pieces that are cut. There's some large trees, so we'll be needing a lot of help there. As long as we can, get through. As the goal is we typically hike or run the equipment in. I use baby joggers to kind of carry the big equipment. We get to the trail and then just go to work. It's a very satisfying day when you see what you get, when you get there to when you finish what's the end result. So, I hope some of you can come join us. We'll be having other opportunities as well. I've got another trail called Thompson Creek, and that one has not been managed in a number of years as well. And so I've been limited to my access due to the gates are closed, so there's limited accessibility to the trail. But I hear the gates are supposed to be opening here in August, so I'll be creating another work day to get out there. Again, just tons of work to be done. That one has some erosion issues that we need to kind of retread the trail. So in other words, kind of bench the trails or cut the trail so that it's runnable or hikeable again, basically usable. So there's that trail is going to need a lot of attention. Wagon Wheel Gap, I think once we get things cut and we can do some tread work and stuff, but I think that's going to be in pretty good shape. But I'm thinking Thompson Creek's going to need a lot of attention and a lot of love, so that's going to be a multi-visit, to manage that one. So, these are just ones that that I'm managing. Like I said, there's so much out there and so much in your area. If you can reach out and help, when you're running. And you see the condition of the trail. If you notice there's a lot of erosion, you can report that. And at that time, see, who manages it? How can you help that person? How can you, is there volunteer work days? So please, if you can, lend a hand. I think we all remember that outdoor article that talked about trail runners and it referred to us as lazy parasites. So let's show the other user groups that we're not just there to be users. We're there to help manage the forest and clear trails and help out in that regard as well. It's very, as I said, it's very rewarding. When you get done, you're exhausted, obviously, but when you see the difference, the before and after, it's just, it really does feel good because that other users are going to be able to enjoy those trails so much more, including yourself. Foster Creek, as I mentioned in my Instagram post, was one of the very few trails that remained open through the quarantine, and it was something I could run from my house and just get a little bit of trail in, just to feel like something was normal. Like I wasn't intruding on something that was closed. I wasn't doing anything wrong, but it wasn't anywhere in which if something happened that it would be hard for me to be evacuated or rescued. It's just knowing that that's there and a resource is it's wonderful. And I'm glad to be able to help maintain that, so that, people can enjoy going there. When I was there this weekend working, there was a gentleman that was out. He's a hunter, and he was checking game cams, and he's like, "You work for the Forest Service?" And I said, "No, I'm just a volunteer." And he said, "Oh man, that's awesome." He's like, "Who can I reach out to?" And I started talking about who I worked through and how that happened, and he was very intrigued. So he was a part of an organization that nationally does a lot of trail work, but the local chapter is pretty new and hasn't quite gotten there yet. But it definitely flipped a switch for him. So he said it himself. He's like, "Hey, you planted a seed, man. Just being out here and doing that. I think you've got me engaged." It's fantastic to have somebody that was looking forward to seeing how they could help. It's great to get all the user groups involved and be united in the effort to help maintain the trails. Getting started, you don't have to volunteer to maintain a trail on your own. Obviously, you can just be a lending hand, volunteer to come out to a workday and just get used to it. If you're looking to adopt a trail, it's good to form a relationship with the Forest Service and let them get to know you and see your efforts. So working through one of these other entities and gaining their trust, and learning how to do things. There's courses that the Forest Service usually offers. Obviously, right now we're under different circumstances, but the Forest Service does offer various courses on trail maintenance. How to do things, how to become a crew leader. How to properly run a crew and see what needs to be done and actually do it. You do have to have a first aid certification for a lot of the things we do. Like Sawyer's, we have to maintain our our CPR and first aid certifications. So that's always handy. I myself would love to take a wilderness first aid certification, just in case we're out there and something happens. Victor does have his, and usually he and I are working together. Just in case anything happens, especially with running chainsaws. Lord knows, the worst of what can happen with that. But, it's there's a lot obviously to be done, and we have so many trails out there. So whatever you can do to help is certainly appreciated. There's not nothing more rewarding than running on a trail or hiking on a trail and thinking to yourself, I was a part of this. I was a part of managing this. We also obviously the Hellbender course. Victor does a ton of work out there, but we have some trails out there that we adopted so that we could keep that course the way it is. Snook's Nose and Newberry Creek. Those two trails, we help manage. We also help manage the lead mine loop that everybody loves so much on the Hellbender course. Victor does a ton of work on the Buncombe Horse Trail. That trail is in constant need of attention, not only from all the thickets that grow up, but the water that seems to just sprout out and spring onto that trail. So, I think. I think you guys know and understand that the trails need help, need your attention. It doesn't have to be constant. I keep talking about how much Victor and I are working, but it's just something we're passionate about, and we want to share that with others, and let them get out there and have the opportunity to help. So we'll continue to create work days, and you can always reach out to me and ask, how can you help? What can you do? What opportunities are available? Feel free. And if you want to learn more or find out who to contact, by all means, please reach out and let me know. Runningpains@gmail.com. You can reach out on Facebook, either my personal account, Aaron Saft, or through my my business page, which is MR Runningpains Coaching. Instagram is fine, MR Runningpains. You can hit me there. I still not running. I think in my next podcast, I'm going to talk about what's going on, what I've had to to be doing to kind of get back to running, and what's preventing me from running, and my plan to get back. So, I hope this finds all of you well, safe, happy, healthy. If I can help in any way, I've had some coaching spots reopen. Last episode I thought I was getting kind of close to capacity. August is coming here, and I've had a few athletes just reach out and say, I need to put a pause on coaching for now. So I've had a few new spots open up. So if you're looking for coaching, by all means, please reach out. If you just want to get faster or train smarter, that's a conversation I'd love to have. So, please reach out. Other than that, my friends, thank you so much for your time. Please subscribe, leave a review for me if you would. And, if you have suggestions, of future podcasts or people you'd like to hear from, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Until next time, my friends, keep running.